sticky sweetness. Hubba Bubba Bubble Gum.
Hubba Bubba.
It's soft, juicy.
Those Western commercials.
Hubba Bubba wasn't just gum. In thick, rectangular pieces with flavors that practically exploded in your mouth. Original bubblegum flavor was a classic, but the grape and watermelon options were where things got exciting. The texture was perfect. Every last bit of
it looks
cookie.
nice though. It looks yummy.
Bonkers candy.
Every time folks eat super fruity bonkers fruit candy, makes a big hit.
Bonkers candy was one of those snacks that always delivered a surprise. Ecto Cooler.
Bonkers is an interesting name for it as well, though.
Grape, strawberry, and watermelon, making every bite an explosion of sweetness that felt like it could take over your whole mouth. Kids loved Bonkers.
20 forgotten snacks from the 1980s we want back. I'm so curious to see not only what snacks are forgotten, but what snacks a lot of you guys who probably would have grown up or around that time or can relate to a lot of these 80s things. I'll be so curious to see how true this is for you guys. Of course, this is coming from Those Wonder Years, a channel that I'm becoming more and more familiar with on this channel. If you guys want to get the original video, as always, it will be linked in the description below. Bonus content on the Patreon for those guys that aren't aware, posting new movie reactions, album reviews, and sitcom reviews every week. So if you guys are interested in getting that extra dose of nostalgia as well as gender perspective on a lot of these classics that I'm showing you guys on the screen, and I'll definitely recommend checking out the Patreon, linked in the description below. Guys, we're almost at 50,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed already and you're watching this and you've watched me a few times before, do me a big favor to hit that subscribe button, join the Flex family, as well as like the video as well, because that goes a long way. Let's get these videos pushing the algorithm. But look guys, with that being said, let's get straight into this video. Let's go.
Were the snacks that made the 80s unforgettable. In this video, we're diving into 20 classic snacks of the 1980s. From gooey chocolate bars to quirky lunchbox treats. These are the flavors that defined a generation. Stick around, because you might just discover a few you forgot until now. Big League Chew.
Big League Chew.
You're into Big League Chew.
I think I've seen that
Big League
advert.
Chew was more than just gum. It was a moment of feeling like a pro ball player for any kid in the 80s. Packed in its iconic pouch, Big League Chew wasn't your average stick or chunk of gum. It was shredded, almost like chewing tobacco. A nod to its baseball origins. For a lot of kids, tearing into that pouch and pulling out a bunch of shredded gum was the closest thing to stepping onto a major league field. The taste was unforgettable, with flavors like classic bubble gum and grape. Just one handful could fill your mouth with a burst of sweetness, and that texture was perfect for blowing those giant sticky bubbles that would sometimes stick to your face or get you in trouble if you were in class. There was something satisfying about digging into a pouch and grabbing as much or as little as you wanted, like a snack that gave you a bit of freedom. The idea for Big League Chew came from two baseball players who wanted to create a fun, safer alternative to chewing tobacco. The result was a gum that felt like it had an edge and became a favorite on playgrounds and baseball fields alike. Big League Chew may still be around, but for many of us, it brings back memories of scraped knees, summer afternoons, and that thrill of feeling like a big leaguer, even just for a moment. Jello.
Well, I can imagine that as well, man. I'm definitely seeing a big links to baseball and this bubblegum. Never seen anything quite like it as of recent from when I grew up, but I think I came across it like subtly in a commercial before. It definitely caught my eye because I've never seen like chewing gum like that. I wonder if they'll bring anything like that back.
Like a big leaguer, even just for a moment. Jello pudding pops.
New Jello pudding pops.
Jello pudding pops.
Do you remember the joy of grabbing a Jello pudding pop from the freezer on a hot day? These creamy, cool treats were the ultimate summer indulgence in the 80s, blending the rich flavors of chocolate and vanilla in a unique frozen pudding texture. Each pop came wrapped in bright packaging, almost calling out to be chosen as the perfect snack after a long day of playing outside. Unlike any other frozen dessert at the time, Jello pudding pops had a smooth, almost custard-like consistency that was irresistibly satisfying. The flavors were simple, but that was all they needed. Chocolate for those who wanted something rich, vanilla for the purists, and even a swirl option for the best of both worlds. There was something about that creamy texture that made each bite melt perfectly, and no one cared if they ended up with pudding smudged around their mouths. Fun fact, Jello pudding pops became iconic partly thanks to commercials starring a famous comedian whose playful energy made these treats seem like a ticket to fun. Created as a way...
That's definitely Bill Cosby. And you know, that's kind of mad though, considering I say he had a scandal of some sort. I don't know if it was to do with... I don't even know the ins and outs of it because I'm really not, mate. I actually be living in a bubble. Like some of you guys be wondering how I don't know some things. Like I generally don't. I don't be searching for these things, man, outside of these YouTube videos. So I'm swear Bill Cosby had a whole scandal, some sort of like, you know, charges, those types of charges. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but if it was to do with kids and he's in these commercials, that's mad. That's mad if you look at it in hindsight. But look, that's besides the point. Jello pudding pops, they look interesting, though.
Comedian whose playful energy made these treats seem like a ticket to fun. Created as a way to bring Jello pudding to a frozen form, pudding pops quickly became a hit in school cafeterias, picnics, and backyards, where kids savored them with sticky fingers and happy smiles. Fruit Wrinkles.
Fruit Wrinkles. Yeah, Jello pudding pops is like...
Fruit Wrinkles, from the makers of Fruit Roll-Ups and Fruit Bars.
Fruit Wrinkles were like little treasure bites for kids in the 80s. Unlike the fruit snacks we see today, these chewy treats actually looked wrinkled, which gave them a homemade, almost quirky appeal. Shaped like tiny, shrunken pieces of real fruit, Fruit Wrinkles came in flavors like strawberry, cherry, and grape, delivering a pop of sweetness that was both satisfying and fun. Each piece had a sticky texture that practically glued to your fingers, making it impossible to just grab one. These snacks were a lunchtime favorite, often tucked into lunchboxes as a little reward. For parents, Fruit Wrinkles had the appeal of being marketed as real fruit, so there was a bit of healthy credibility that made them feel good about adding them to a kid's snack stash. For kids though, they were just
Wait, they were being marketed as real fruits, of course they were. I was gonna say, those are just definitely not healthy as they sound.
Time favorite, often tucked into lunchboxes as a little reward. For parents, Fruit Wrinkles had the appeal of being marketed as real fruit, so there was a bit of healthy credibility that made them feel good about adding them to a kid's snack stash. For kids though, they were just irresistibly fun and flavorful. Did you know? Fruit Wrinkles were created by General Mills, the same people behind Fruit Roll-Ups, as an attempt to expand their line of fruit snacks. While Fruit Roll-Ups became a classic, Fruit Wrinkles quietly disappeared in the early 90s, leaving fans with nothing but memories of their unique sticky sweetness. Hubba Bubba Bubble Gum.
I've heard of this one.
Hubba Bubba.
Hubba Bubba.
It's soft, juicy,
What are those Western commercials?
Hubba Bubba wasn't just gum. It was a bubble-blowing experience that every kid in the 80s knew and loved. This wasn't the ordinary gum you'd get from the checkout counter. Hubba Bubba came in thick, rectangular pieces with flavors that practically exploded in your mouth. Original bubblegum flavor was a classic, but the grape and watermelon options were where things got exciting. The texture was perfect for blowing those huge cartoonish bubbles that would sometimes pop and stick all over your face. An 80s rite of passage. Everyone remembers unwrapping a piece and getting that burst of fruity scent, hinting at the juicy flavor waiting inside. The gum was soft, and its sugary taste lasted longer than most other gums at the time, which gave it an edge on the playground. And who could forget the Hubba Bubba commercials? Those wild, colorful ads made every kid want to get their hands on a pack and see how big they could blow their bubbles.
Hubba Bubba
was the gum that made bubble blowing a competition, with kids daring each other to blow the biggest bubble without making a sticky mess. Planters cheese balls.
Yeah, that Hubba Bubba's, man. I've heard of those. Cheese balls.
And new family size.
Now I'm having a ball.
Planters cheese balls were the ultimate snack for anyone craving something cheesy and crunchy. Coming in that signature blue canister, cheese balls had a kind of magic to them. Just popping the lid brought a whiff of that unmistakable cheesy scent, and you couldn't resist grabbing a handful. The texture was a perfect mix of crispy and light, with each ball practically melting in your mouth as it left your fingers covered in bright orange cheese dust. These weren't your ordinary cheese snacks. There was something about the intense flavor that made them special. They were bolder, cheesier, and somehow more addictive than anything else on the shelf. For a lot of us, opening a can of cheese balls felt like the start of a movie night, a road trip, or just an excuse to indulge a little. A big part of the fun was sharing them with friends, or seeing how many you could fit in your mouth at once. Somehow, they were the perfect snack for any kind of get-together. Though they disappeared for a while, those who remember the original can tell you, nothing else quite hit the spot like Planters cheese balls. Dunkaroos.
I want to try those, man. Cheese balls look interesting. Remind me of what's it of today. Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroos were more than just a snack. They were a whole experience packed into a little plastic container. Opening up a pack meant you were in for a treat. A handful of crunchy mini cookies on one side and a sweet creamy frosting on the other. The best part? You were the boss of how much frosting went on each cookie. Some would dunk just a bit, while others would load up each cookie with as much frosting as possible. There was something about that smooth, sugary frosting that made Dunkaroos feel like dessert disguised as a snack. And let's be honest, the classic vanilla and rainbow sprinkle frosting was a fan favorite, with chocolate close behind. Kids would trade them at school or save them for the last item in their lunchbox, making each bite feel like the ultimate reward. Dunkaroos disappeared from shelves in the early 2000s, leaving many fans heartbroken. But their legacy lives on in the memories of those who remember carefully rationing that precious frosting and savoring every last bit of cookie.
Yo, you gotta let me know how true a lot of these are. I think a lot of these from snacks from the 80s remind me very much of snacks that I'm seeing now. So I don't know if I'm seeing more like modern day versions of them, like kind of reinvented, or people are just taking what kind of worked back then and just remixing them, you know. But like this is, Dunkaroos look interesting. The name sounds familiar.
Carefully rationing
I don't think I've seen that before.
And savoring every last bit of
it looks
cookie.
Nice though. It looks yummy.
Bonkers candy.
Every time folks eat super fruity bonkers fruit candy, makes a big hit.
Bonkers candy was one of those snacks that always delivered a surprise. Each piece was a square with a soft, chewy outer layer and an even juicier fruity center that packed a punch of flavor. They came in bright colors and bold flavors like grape, strawberry, and watermelon, making every bite an explosion of sweetness that felt like it could take over your whole mouth. Kids loved Bonkers for the dual-layered texture and intense taste. But the real fun came from the candy's quirky advertising. The commercials were unforgettable, featuring giant pieces of fruit falling from the sky and bonking people on the head. A wacky approach that made the candy seem almost like a cartoon come to life. Bonkers had that perfect balance of being chewy without getting stuck in your teeth, which made it easy to go through a pack in no time. And while they eventually disappeared from store shelves, Bonkers left a lasting impression on anyone who experienced that fun, fruity bonk of flavor. Hi-C Ecto Cooler.
Bonker's an interesting name for it as well, though, why they named it that. But those adverts, I haven't seen any of them. I don't think I've seen a Bonkers advert. They sound interesting.
Who experienced that fun,
all these sweets
fruity bonk of flavor. Hi-C Ecto Cooler.
Hi-C Ecto Cooler. Slimer's new fruit drink.
Hi-C Ecto Cooler was more than just a juice box. It was practically a pop culture icon for kids in the 80s. Released as a promotional tie-in for Ghostbusters, Ecto Cooler became famous for its neon green color and its citrusy, tangy flavor that was oddly addictive. Just seeing the bright green drink made it feel like you were drinking something straight out of the Ghostbusters world. The packaging featured Slimer, the mischievous green ghost from the movies, which made it even more exciting. Kids loved feeling like they were sharing a drink with one of their favorite ghostly characters, and that green color, it wasn't just for show. Something about it made Ecto Cooler feel like no other juice box out there. Ecto Cooler stayed on the shelves well past its promotional period because fans just couldn't get enough. It was eventually discontinued, much to the disappointment of kids who grew up with it. But for anyone who remembers, Ecto Cooler was more than just a drink. It was a little slice of childhood that took lunchtime to a whole new level.
I've never heard of that, and I'm sure when Ghostbusters was really popular, that would have been a big influence. One that I definitely wouldn't be able to really resonate with, but it definitely does look interesting. I can see the appeal, especially it seems like movies and stuff like that really had a big shape on like the culture and, you know, the foods, the toys, like Star Wars being a good example, like especially in the 70s, like early 80s and stuff like that, of just how much movies and these, you know, things can influence the toys that people like, or the in this case the snacks. But that one does look interesting. Let me know if you guys can relate to these ones. I've never heard of this one. It's my first time hearing of
drink. It was a little slice of childhood that took lunchtime to a whole new level. Whatchamacallit.
Whatchamacallit.
I've heard of this
totally
one
different crunchy bar of peanutty tasting crisp drenched in chocolate.
Whatchamacallit was the candy bar with a name as quirky as its taste. Released in the late 70s and popularized throughout the 80s, this bar combined crispy rice, caramel, and a coating of milk chocolate to create a unique, crunchy, chewy treat
Rice,
that stood out from
caramel,
other
and
chocolate
chocolate.
bars. The layers made it interesting. First, you'd get that chocolatey outside, then the chewy caramel, and finally the crispy rice that gave it a satisfying crunch with each bite.
Wow.
Fun didn't stop at the taste. Whatchamacallit commercials leaned into the candy's unusual name, playing up the mystery and making it a favorite for kids who love the sense of novelty. If you didn't know what to call it, Whatchamacallit seemed like the perfect name. It was one of those candy bars that didn't need gimmicks. Its unusual mix of textures and flavors was enough to keep people coming back. Whatchamacallit might not have reached the fame of some other candies, but it carved out a loyal fan base. For anyone who remembers grabbing one from the corner store, it was a candy that always managed to feel like a small adventure. Keebler Magic.
Yeah, that's not one of those ones I've never heard of, but I remember coming across an advert in like Saturday morning commercials, and the Whatchamacallit again, along with Hubba Bubba, was like two. There's another one like Mounds and what's the other one? Almond Joys and Mounds. Like those are the kinds of adverts that just stuck with me for some reason. Whatchamacallit, I think, was more because of the name. But yeah, it does look interesting, and I'll be curious to see how much this was popular amongst you guys watching.
Corner store, it was a candy that always managed to feel like a small adventure. Keebler Magic Middles.
Too late, we just did it. New Keebler Magic Middles. Try one.
Alliteration.
Wow.
Keebler Magic Middles weren't your average cookies. They were a delightful surprise in every bite. On the outside, they looked like regular shortbread cookies, but biting into one revealed a hidden pocket of creamy chocolate or caramel filling that took these treats to another level. The combination of a crumbly, buttery exterior and a gooey, rich center made Magic Middles unforgettable. These cookies quickly became a hit because they were a little like a dessert within a dessert. Instead of just snacking on a plain cookie, you'd get that satisfying bite of smooth chocolate or caramel in the middle, which made them feel almost like a little indulgent. They were the kind of snack you'd save as the last treat in your lunchbox, savoring each bite. Keebler's Magic Middles felt special, not just because of the filling, but because they were a bit different from the usual cookie options on the shelves. Despite their popularity, they eventually disappeared, leaving fans longing for the unique experience of cracking into a cookie with that hidden sweet center. For anyone who remembers, Magic Middles will always have a place as the ultimate hidden treasure snack.
I actually can't, like, Magic Middles is a good name because you got like the chocolate part in the middle, right? Like, I can't handle those sweets or like pastries that just have, or cookies, whatever you want to call it, that have like a mixture of textures to it, like have a harder, shell, or like a crunchier pastry on the outside, but the inside is like gooey. Like those kind of throw me off. Like jammy Dodgers, I don't like jammy Dodgers, but that's just my personal preference. But I'm sure a lot of you guys probably like that.
Squeeze it.
Yeah,
Magic
that's
Middles
interesting.
will always have a place as the ultimate hidden treasure snack.
It's a good name.
Squeeze it.
Squeeze it.
Squeezable characters are so much fun.
That's an interesting advert.
Really get into them.
Squeeze It wasn't just a drink, it was an experience. Packaged in colorful plastic bottles with twist-off tops, Squeeze It made drinking juice fun. Each bottle was designed to be, well, squeezed, making it feel like a hands-on, interactive snack rather than just a regular juice. The bright, fruity flavors like cherry, berry, and tropical punch came in colors that looked more like neon highlighter ink than anything found in nature, which back then just added to the excitement. There was something about squeezing that bottle and watching the juice squirt out that felt like a little victory, especially for kids. It was practically a rite of passage to twist off that cap, tilt the bottle back, and squeeze until you got every last drop. Kids would trade flavors in the lunchroom or argue over which one was the best, a debate that often depended on which color looked the coolest.
I wonder what you guys
drinks
would say.
Eventually faded from store shelves, but not from memory. For anyone who grew up with them, Squeeze It was more than just juice. It was a symbol of a time when snacks were as much about fun as they were about flavor. I
think I've tried something along the like similar to the Squeeze It stuff. When I came to the US. I don't know if we have stuff like this in the UK, like with the twisty tops that you can just break off. But I do definitely remember being handed one when I was in the US for a bit. It's an interesting one. I like the concept of this. And
New Post Waffle Crisp cereal is part of a complete breakfast.
Waffle Waffle Crisp was the breakfast cereal that felt like dessert first thing in the morning. Each little piece was shaped like a tiny golden waffle, complete with grid marks and a deliciously sweet maple syrup flavor that made it taste just like the real thing. The smell alone when you opened the box was enough to transport you to a cozy diner with fresh waffles on the griddle, even if you were just sitting at your own kitchen table. What made Waffle Crisp so memorable wasn't just its unique flavor, but the satisfying crunch that held up even in milk. The cereal stayed crispy for just long enough, letting you enjoy each spoonful before it softened, making it perfect for those who loved a little crunch in their morning routine. And for a lot of kids, it was the best part of waking up. There was nothing like a bowl of Waffle Crisp to start the day with a little extra sweetness. Despite its popularity, Waffle Crisp eventually disappeared from shelves, leaving fans missing that nostalgic syrupy crunch. For anyone who enjoyed it, Waffle Crisp wasn't just breakfast, it was a bit of morning magic that made waking up feel special. Nestle Quick Strawberry Powder.
I've never seen anything like Waffle Crisp before. Cereals in the 80s.
Come true.
There's too many.
Quick Strawberry Powder was the drink mix that turned any regular glass of milk into a pink, fruity treat. Just a few spoonfuls of that bright pink powder transformed milk into a sweet strawberry delight, and stirring it in until the color was perfectly even was all part of the fun. The powder had a distinctive, almost candy-like strawberry flavor that was both familiar and exciting, making it an easy favorite for kids who wanted a break from plain chocolate milk. What made it even more memorable was the ritual. Some kids would dump in extra scoops for an extra sugary kick, while others tried to get it perfectly balanced with just the right amount of pink. There was that unmistakable sweet strawberry aroma that filled the kitchen as soon as the powder hit the milk, a smell that could make any kid grin in anticipation. Though still available in some places, Strawberry Quick isn't as common as it once was, but it holds a special place in the memories of those who grew up with it. For many, Nestle Quick Strawberry was more than just a drink. It was a mini celebration in every glass, turning a simple cup of milk into something magical and sweet. Hostess Choco
I can imagine
Bliss.
I can imagine how a lot of these sweets would have just made you guys so excited, and I'm sure it's bringing back a lot of memories. Like for me, again, I don't think I recognize. If it wasn't for these videos, I wouldn't have known any of these. I don't think there'll be a single sweet or snack in here that I would know of.
Full cup of milk into something magical and sweet. Hostess Choco Bliss.
New
Hostess Choco Bliss.
Whoa. Check that super chocolatey icing.
Hostess Choco Bliss was the ultimate treat for chocolate lovers in the 80s. These decadent snack cakes were made up of 2 layers of rich, fudgy chocolate cake, separated by a creamy chocolate filling and topped with a smooth layer of chocolate frosting. Just one bite, and you were in chocolate heaven. It was everything you could want in a dessert, packed into a single snack cake. Choco Bliss had a way of making any lunchbox feel like a luxury. The texture was dense yet soft, and each bite was filled with that unmistakable Hostess sweetness. These cakes were a bit of a departure from other Hostess snacks, which often included cream filling or icing swirls. Instead, Choco Bliss was all about one thing: pure chocolate indulgence. And with that chocolate on chocolate approach, it quickly became a favorite for kids who couldn't get enough cocoa. Sadly,
more chocolate.
Hostess eventually discontinued Choco Bliss, much to the disappointment of fans.
But
for those who remember, it's still a sweet memory of after-school snacks, lunchbox surprises, and an era when chocolate treats like Choco Bliss felt like the ultimate reward at the end of a long day. Oreo Big Stuff.
That Choco Bliss looks interesting. This advert.
Oreo Big Stuff was a supersized version of the classic Oreo that made every cookie lover's dream come true. Imagine a single Oreo, but about 10 times bigger. It was a dessert you could practically hold with both hands. Each Big Stuff came individually wrapped, making it feel even more special, as if you were unwrapping a mini cake rather than just a cookie. The filling was just as rich and creamy as the original, but in Big Stuff proportions, it felt like a whole different experience. Kids would debate the best way to tackle one. Twist it open to eat the filling first, or just take huge bites right through the middle. It was the kind of snack that felt like a reward, whether as a school treat or...
Sorry, why am I imagining like these two kind of nerds or like professor kind of styled looking in like kids who are speaking so eloquently, debating on how we should eat an Oreo, like, and everyone's like, no, twist first, and they were like, no, you definitely crunch first, and you go all the way, or whatever the debates were. Like, I don't know why my brain just went there, but These are huge.
But in Big Stuff proportions, it felt like a whole different experience. Kids would debate the best way to tackle one, twist it open to eat the filling first, or just take huge bites right through the middle. It was the kind of snack that felt like a reward, whether as a school treat or a weekend indulgence, and every bite had that classic Oreo flavor, just bigger and better. Despite its popularity, Oreo Big Stuff didn't last long and was discontinued in the early 90s. But for those who remember, Big Stuff was an unforgettable part of snacking in the 80s, when bigger is better was the rule, and no cookie was too large to enjoy in one sitting if you were up for the challenge, bar none.
Yeah, man, those, I've never seen them that big before. That's interesting. Bar none.
Bar None was a unique chocolate bar that hit shelves in the late 80s and quickly won over anyone who tried it.
Like
Made by Hershey's, it combined layers of chocolate wafers, a creamy chocolate filling, and a thick coating of milk chocolate with just a hint of crushed peanuts. The result was a bar with a satisfyingly crunchy texture and a rich chocolatey taste that felt like a more indulgent, layered version of traditional chocolate bars. What set Bar None apart was that it felt like a candy bar built for chocolate purists. The mix of wafers, chocolate cream, and peanut pieces made it more complex than your average candy, and it had this dense, decadent texture that kept you reaching for another bite. For those who grew up with it, Bar None was a chocolate experience that felt almost gourmet, something a little more sophisticated, even though it was just as fun to unwrap as any other candy. Unfortunately, Bar None disappeared from shelves by the mid-90s, despite its loyal following, but those who remember it can still recall that perfect mix of crunch, cream, and chocolate that made Bar None a standout in the candy aisle. Carnation Breakfast Bar.
Yeah, I never heard of that one, boys. That does look interesting.
Breakfast Bar.
The Bar None.
Smooth chocolate, crispy nuts.
I haven't seen anything like that.
Carnation Breakfast Bars were the original on-the-go breakfast before granola bars took over. They were marketed as a quick, nutritious breakfast option, and for kids in the 80s, they felt like a treat you could eat on a busy school morning without needing a sit-down meal. Each bar was packed with chocolate and had a slightly gritty texture from oats and other grains, making it feel like a cross between a candy bar and an energy bar. Wrapped in foil, these bars had flavors like chocolate chip and peanut butter, with just the right amount of sweetness to make breakfast feel fun. Kids loved them not only because they were tasty, but also because they seemed like a grown-up snack, something you could grab and eat just like an adult. Carnation Breakfast Bars were eventually phased out despite their early popularity, and they've since become a nostalgic memory for those who remember them. For many, these bars were the start of the convenience food trend, and they hold a special place as the breakfast that brought a little excitement to rushed mornings and busy school days. Marathon Bar.
That's, yeah.
You can't eat a marathon candy bar.
All these chocolatey options, man. You just got chocolates for everything, man.
Fast, quick, Kurt.
All these different types of chocolates.
A good long time.
The Marathon Bar was the ultimate test of patience for candy lovers in the 80s.
I think I recognize
it was a long, braided caramel bar coated in milk chocolate, stretching out to about 8 inches. A rare sight among candies. Its length and distinctive texture set it apart from other chocolate bars. It wasn't something you could just bite through in one go. Instead, the chewy caramel made you savor every bite, as it took a while to get through even a single piece. The Marathon Bar's red packaging featured a ruler printed on it, playfully showcasing its impressive length. This wasn't just a snack, it was almost a challenge to see how long you could make it last. Kids loved it for its unique look and feel, and for many, it became the go-to treat when they wanted something that felt like it was worth the pocket change. Marathon Bars disappeared from shelves in the 80s, leaving fans without that distinct, satisfying chew. But anyone who remembers it will tell you, the Marathon Bar was as much an experience as it was a candy, one that made every trip to the candy aisle feel like an adventure.
That's so interesting. So you got a Marathon Bar that's so long. I like the marketing. I like the concept. It's not easy to just chew in one sitting. It lasts you quite a while, and it seems like, I'm guessing the taste probably was still alright after a while, but yeah, it's a good one as well that stands out. It's nothing like the other ones that I've seen. I don't know, in some ways, like having a snack that takes a long time to eat kind of conflicting with, you know, the reasons why I want to have a snack. Like, you know, when I think of snacks, I'm thinking of something that I just want to eat quickly, be done with, get that dopamine rush and be done with, maybe go on to the next one. But then taking a long time to get through one, I don't know, maybe that's just me though. But yeah, that one definitely does look interesting. I think that was also one of the ones that I feel like I remember from previous adverts. That one definitely does stand out.
was
To
a
me, at
candy,
least.
one that made every
Not
trip
seen
to the
anything
candy
like
aisle
that.
feel like an adventure. PB Max.
PB Max.
Wow, boy, that's pure bliss. PB Max, we mean peanut butter.
PB Max was a candy bar that took peanut butter lovers to the next level. It
sounds
featured
like
a
it.
thick, creamy layer
Whoa.
of real peanut butter on a cookie base, all coated in rich milk chocolate and sprinkled with little crunchy oats for extra texture. It was like having
Wow.
a full dessert packed into a single bite with flavors that were rich and deeply satisfying. The name PB Max came from the maximum amount of peanut butter they could squeeze into each bar, and it truly delivered. The texture was part of the appeal.
That's a
First,
lot
the
of peanut
snap
butter.
of the chocolate, then the crumbly cookie, and finally the smooth peanut butter that melted in your mouth. It quickly became a favorite for those who loved anything peanut butter, with a heft that felt substantial. Despite its popularity, PB Max was discontinued in the early 90s. Rumor
small
has it
packet.
wasn't due to low sales, but rather because the Mars family didn't care for peanut butter themselves.
Really?
For fans, PB Max was a peanut butter paradise and a treat that felt as rich as it was delicious, making it a
people be
snack
loving
that
peanut
remains
butter
missed to
back
this
in the
day. Giggles Cookies.
Giggles?
I like new Giggles Cookies because we've got 2 kinds of cream inside.
Giggles Cookies were the snack
That
that added
kid's
a little
laughing.
extra fun to every bite. These sandwich cookies, similar in structure to
Look
Oreos,
at that
had
face.
playful faces on them that smiled back at you,
Okay.
making snack time feel a bit like a comedy show.
I like that.
Each cookie had a crunchy exterior, and inside there was a double layer of creamy filling. One side vanilla, the other chocolate. This made them unique and extra appealing for anyone who loved variety in their cookies. Kids loved pulling them apart, either to eat the filling first or to laugh at the funny little faces before devouring them.
I
The
would've
combination
loved
of
laughing
vanilla
at the
and chocolate
faces.
cream was perfectly balanced, so you got the best of both worlds in one cookie. Giggles cookies were especially popular in lunchboxes, where they were often traded or saved as the ultimate
Traded.
lunchtime treat. Though they eventually disappeared from shelves, Giggles cookies left a lasting impression on anyone who grew up with them. They weren't just a snack, they were a mini moment of happiness, with a taste that brought together the best of chocolate, vanilla, and a touch of humor. This video
I'm assuming, like, in terms of like how he said they were traded. Hold
takes
up.
you back to the 80s with 20
Let me
classic
finish.
snacks, candies, and treats that made our childhoods unforgettable.
Wow.
From Giggles cookies to Jello pudding pops, these iconic favorites were more than just snacks. They were memories. What's your favorite 80s treat? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, guys,
Do you
that
remember
seems to be the end of the video. Look, I'd love to know which one was your favorite. Just towards the end with those Giggles cookies, man. In terms of like those faces, it reminds me of these sweets that had like animal faces or the different type of animal shapes on it. But I personally would have probably loved the Giggles cookie just to look at the face and which one I wanted. I'm guessing people will probably trade in the faces. Like, which face do you want? Oh, I want this one, whatever. Like, I don't know. You guys let me know. Fill me in, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me know the thing behind that. But yeah, again, like I said, a lot of these sweets, these snacks, majority of them I don't think I've ever heard of other than free food videos before. They looked very interesting. Yeah, I would love to know which one was your favorite. But yeah, like a lot of these sweets kind of seem like, some of them seem like I'm used to seeing today, but like just, more modern day version. And I can imagine just how much movies and like shows and commercials really would have influenced a lot of you guys to have gotten these kinds of snacks. Let me know which one, like he said, let me know which one was your favorite. Look, if you made it to this point, comment down a brown heart so I know who my real ones are who made it to this point, or hashtag flexer for those of you guys that are probably getting around the emojis now and maybe you don't want to use it. Do you know what I'm saying? Look, you guys, let's see, let's get to this point. I love you guys to watch me to the end. These snacks looks very interesting, and let me know if you guys want any of these to come back as well. If you could bring back any of these as well, which one would you bring back, or which one would you guard? Or were there any other snacks in here that may not have been mentioned that a lot of you guys really liked in the 80s that you guys would like to try? Or maybe some other decades, that you grew up in, for some reasons, maybe 60s, 70s, 90s even, 2000s even, right? But yeah, guys, look, that's my reaction. Look, don't forget to like the video before you heading out. I know it's easy to forget. Of course, if you want to see more of these kinds of videos, like my commercials and some of the other food stuff that I've checked out from the past, then I'll leave a playlist, links with all of those kinds of videos and more at the end of the video. But guys, with that being said, I've been JayFlex, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.